Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about all of the updates to Tirisfal Glades and the Undercity in patch 9.2.5, and we're going to run around the zone and we're going to check out all of the new things happening and check out some of the Easter eggs and references around the new updated zone. And it is pretty cool and it is nice to see this kind of stuff. But before we jump into that, guys, I just want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me streaming World of Warcraft, patch 9.2.5, 10.0 alpha beta, Wrath beta and more, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM. every single day. Right, so yes, in patch 9.2.5 there is a brand new questline in Tirisfal Glades in Lordaeron, and it is pretty cool and it's kind of fun. No spoilers, I definitely recommend you checking it out, and you get some cool unlocks from doing that. But as we speculated a while ago, and it was kind of leaked out through just a mini-map, there is some updates to Tirisfal Glades, and they're pretty cool actually, and they're really fun, and hopefully something we see more in the future of WoW, with them kind of going through and updating zones post, like, you know, events like the Battle for Lordaeron, for example. So we're just going to run around, we're going to fly around, and I'm going to show you some stuff. So, first of all, we're in the throne room of Lordaeron, and what you'll notice is actually the Undercity is closed off. You cannot go to the Undercity in this phase. Now, obviously, if you go to Zadormi, you can do that, but this is closed off. There's no elevator, there's no lift, there's no nothing to take you down. So now the kind of Undercity is not the Undercity anymore. It's just the city, I guess. But yeah, so I'll show you what kind of changes we have with this. So in the questline, you kind of clear all of the blight. If you remember at the Battle for Lordaeron, at the end of it, the whole zone was blighted and uninhabitable. And if you came here during that time, you'd actually just die from the green goo. But that has all been cleared up now, and they have started sprouting up people around the Undercity, or the upstairs of the Undercity. So the actual area is surrounded by Dark Rangers. They're actually just defending the city here, which is really, really cool. And some Forsaken Bats are flying around as well. This is a Horde zone still, so if you are Alliance, you will come here and get attacked, as you'd imagine. But the questline does kind of transform you into Horde, so you can still do it, which is kind of fun. But it is pretty cool. So we'll start on the right-hand side over here, and you'll see a bunch of NPCs. Now, first of all, you'll see the Desolate Council, which is kind of the new leaders of the Forsaken, I believe. Now, personally, I would have preferred it if they were in the throne room. I feel like that would actually be a little bit better, but they have kind of popped them here. As you can see, some notable names here, of course, including Derek Proudmoore from Battle for Azeroth, which is really cool. But yeah, so that is the Desolate Council. They're just hanging out by this random door on the right-hand side of the Undercity. So you have some guards, of course. You have some Dark Rangers, more over here, kind of like a little Dark Ranger area. And you have, like, you know, will you rejoin the Kel'Dorai? And they have little speeches and things like that. And I definitely recommend, if you do, you know, get this unlocked, I recommend coming over and reading some of these. But, you know, if I read all of them, we'll be here all day. So we're just checking out these zone updates for now. Now, a lot of these NPCs are actually really interesting, because some of them are actually from the Undercity. Like Gordon here is actually one of the vendors from Classic WoW. You would have seen him in the Undercity, and he was kind of taken out during the Battle for Lordaeron and has now returned, and they've kind of sprouted some of these NPCs around this area to start kind of building it back up. And they've got some new assets here as well. You've got kind of cool new stables here, which is really nice, and some just kind of refugees hanging about campfires and things like that. But you have a guild vendor, as you'd imagine, and yeah, just some, you know, boxes and things, and it definitely feels a lot more alive than previously, ironically enough. So yeah, it's really cool. So if we head to the back end of the Undercity here, there's nothing in this part. Again, this green goo does not kill you anymore, which is really nice. We're just going to head over. It does seem a little bit bland and plain in these areas. If you come around the back here, actually, previously there was a bunch of, like, Horde demolishers and things like that. It looks like those have all been cleared out. There is some undead banners, but no activity, which is kind of interesting. So if we fly back over to the left-hand side, where there is a little bit of a beehive of activity over here. Now, the main updates to this area are really in Brill, which we'll go to in a second. But as you can see, more Undercity guards here. And again, this is something they can work on over time. Hopefully, throughout the patches, they do add more things to this and kind of give you a, you know, a more passing of time feel to it, which would actually be really, really fun. So yeah, you've got some more guards hanging around, some Dark Rangers walking about, and some more refugees kind of sitting about, doing what they do. So there is actually a little portal area here. Now, it is a little bit random. Some people were like, well, why are there a portal to Howling Fjord, for example? So this is just simply a replacement for the Zeppelins. Now, this has always been here. This is a teleport to Silvermoon, I believe. But you do have a portal to Stranglethorn Vale, Ogrimmar, and of course Howling Fjord, and these portals will just take you to that area. And again, this is kind of a replacement for the Zeppelin. Now personally I would have preferred it if they used this. This is a new platform they created during the scenario in Battle for Azeroth, and this would have been really cool as a Zeppelin sort of place. But again, that's something they could do potentially in the future. But for now, there is a new kind of portal area here for the Horde. So if we head outside of the city, we're going to see this area here, which used to be just all on fire, covered in blight, and just uninhabitable and not able to be flown over or even walked on. But now it is completely fine to travel around and all that. So we're going to head over to Brill. Now Brill has had a bit of a history. Obviously, you know, in Vanilla WoW, it definitely looked a little bit different to this. Then in the Cataclysm, they did update it with some new assets, which are very similar to this. And then obviously in Battle for Azeroth, they destroyed it, and it was more alliance-based. And now in 9.2.5, the Undead and the Horde have taken it back, and we're going to take a look at some of these changes. So you have a new building here, which is obviously being created by these Forsaken Laborers, which is really cool. And a lot of the NPCs actually around, so the Hunter Trainers and, you know, these people, the Tailor Trainer and whatnot, are actually old NPCs from Brill, which is really cool to see them come back. Some of these assets as well, like this tent here, for example, is from the Battle for Darkshore, which was the warfront in Battle for Azeroth as well. And you'll see a couple of these kind of assets sprouted around, like this tent over here, and I believe the tent has a map inside it as well, which does kind of indicate some Battle for Azeroth type content here. So yeah, this is just reused assets from that, but it works really nicely in this updated Brill. Now the graveyard is still there. That was there throughout Cataclysm and beyond, and that is still staying here with this building here, which has actually, I think, been here since Vanilla WoW. I think it kind of looks like it anyway. But as you can see, there are NPCs again, and there is a new flight path. There was a flight path in Cataclysm, I believe they added it, and they've re-added it again in 9.2.5, and you can now fly back to Brill if you want to do that. But it's a little bit, you know, before there was like a load of bats and things like that, and now it's a bit more kind of work in progress as such. But as I said, a lot of the NPCs that were in Brill previously are now in Brill once again. I do love the way that it is being rebuilt with like scaffolding and things like that. So let's inside the inn. We have the innkeeper, obviously. And then more NPCs like a leather armor merchant and general supplies. And if you Google those, they will just come up as like classic WoW NPCs that were around. This particular building is not a new asset. I believe it was added, I want to say Wrath of the Lich King. I think it might have been a building from Wrath of the Lich King, but I might be wrong there. It could be Cataclysm. Fight out in the comments and let me know when you think this building was added. But it is really cool looking. And again, it's very similar to the building that was here previously in the Cataclysm update. You have some dogs. You have Hershey and Xena. And these are actually names of some of the developers of World of Warcraft, I believe, if you Google those ones. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it is. I remember looking them up when we were kind of getting into the data mining, and there was some like random NPCs being added. I was like, what are these for? But yeah, it turns out that is the reason for that. So as we head out of Brill here, you're actually going to see some new NPCs, which are these skeletons. Now, these skeletons are actually really cool. If you do the quest line, you will end up killing them for a quest, but what's really cool about them is that they are actually race-specific. So you'll see here, this is a Tauren skeleton, and over there you'll see like a dwarf skeleton and whatnot. And obviously these are just skeletons or corpses from the scenario in Battle for Azeroth, and they are level 60 as well. I'm not sure if they do scale. Obviously this character is level 60, so it's hard to say, but they are kind of sprouted all around this northern area of Tirisfal Glades. Now, I would go into the Coulson Estate and over to, you know, Death Knell and all that kind of stuff, but that has actually had no updates at all. The actual only updates to this zone are actually in this middle section, and of course the kind of ruins of Lordaeron, which is actually really interesting. So as you can see, these are kind of like level 60 NPCs, and we go out slightly, we should be able to see some slightly lower level NPCs just kind of going about their day like they did in the Cataclysm and then like they did in Vanilla. Now, I can't find any now. This is embarrassing. So as you can see, a Greater Dustbat here, level 30, which is obviously the level cap of kind of Vanilla and Cataclysm content when it scales. And as I said, everything kind of beyond the kind of burnt, charred area is exactly how it was. Now, what's funny here is the Brightwater Lake is actually in the kind of middle of all of this. This kind of devastation and, you know, post-Blight Lordaeron and, you know, all these terrible things happening with these skeletons running around and old bodies everywhere and whatnot. But you have the Brightwater Lake, and you still have the guy, I believe was there in Vanilla WoW. I think his name's Gunther or something like that, and he's still hanging out by this fire, not having anything particular to say. So yeah, pretty funny there. They've just kind of, yeah, I mean, in the trajectory of everything, he's just kind of hanging out inside it, and he's just like, well, what the heck's going on? I don't even know. So yeah, there you go. And you have some level 30 NPCs as well. As I said, everything beyond that is going to be exactly the same, which is, you know, a little bit disappointing, I guess. But I don't know what they could have done with that. Maybe the blight could have infected some of the creatures or something like that. But I guess it just seems like, you know, much easier for them to just kind of update this middle section and not worry too much about the outside, because it is quite a big zone, really, especially with the starting zone and whatnot. For new undeads, for new Forsakens, they just start in the Cataclysm version of the zone, I believe, and they go through that sort of thing, and then obviously once they reach a higher level, the zone will progress. But as I said, there is a Zidormi, or at least there was a Zidormi. Let me see if Zidormi is still hanging about. If not, then it looks like that particular version of the zone has gone away, but normally they have a Zidormi just kind of around this sort of section. But yeah, there you go. So it's not actually on the map, but Zidormi is here. As you can see, and you can go to different versions of the map. You can see before the Battle for Lordaeron. So it looks like the actual Lordaeron phase, yeah, so this is the Cataclysm version right here. So it looks like the kind of, you know, charred, blighted area phase of it is completely gone, and maybe you'll see it, you know, if you're level 50 and you just do the Battle for Lordaeron scenario, but it looks like that particular kind of phase is completely gone here. So that is pretty much all of the updates to Tirisfal Glades, just a little fly and talk and discussion about what's happening here. Again, this is kind of the phase 1 of this. I do think that over time it will slowly progress and get better, and, you know, kind of slowly the Undead and Forsaken will take this zone back, and I think it'd be really cool to see. But it is really nice to see this zone being used and zones being updated over time, because, you know, you look at the Cataclysm, for example, you have zones that have just been cataclysmed, I guess, for like the last 10 years, so hopefully we get something soon. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down below what you think of these Tirisfal Glades updates and the updates to the Undercity. Yeah, I think it's pretty fun, as I said, so good to see. And let me know if you like exploration videos like this. Like, I could do some in Dragonflight, going over some of the zones, if that's something you're interested in, so let me know down below. But before I go, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my amazing patrons, YouTube channel members, and Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to support the channel in any of those ways, links are down below. So leave a like on this video, guys, if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. I've also got a partners Discord channel with over 3,000 members, and as I said, I'm now streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me streaming World of Warcraft, patch 9.2.5, 10.0 alpha beta, and more, over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.